Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
sex workers of Reddit. Who was the grossest customer you've had? I had a client shit himself while I was blowing him, then got mad when I stopped blowing him. According to him, all men shit themselves while feeling extreme pleasure. Edit. You need to stop asking me if that's the professor. Definitely not, he was not old. And I'm based in Canada on a tiny little island. Apparently I've never felt pleasure that extreme. You poor soul. I'm not a sex worker. But I did run a bar opposite one of Edinburgh's infamous saunas. Sort of legal brothel the police turned a blind eye to. Anyway, the girls used to come into my bar once their shift was over for a well-earned drink, and so I got to know some of them pretty well. Inevitably conversation would turn to their clients' kinks. Two spring to mind. The High Court judge who came in to be spanked and be told he needed to be punished. Not that exciting, but the one I can never forget was the peanut butter man. He would come in the day before with a massive bag of peanuts for his favorite girl and book an appointment the next day where the girl would shit on him and he would smear it all over himself, saying, "I'm the peanut butter man," over and over. I could never get that image out of my mind. Well, that's enough internet for today. They. Peen. Ut. B-U-T-T. M-A. You, peanut butterman, WTF bro. These new Marvel, DC characters are getting a little too out there. I was a sex worker, escort for 2 years. I was hired by a 73-ish-year-old professor, nice-sized public university. He hired me to go to his office and give him blowjobs. Yes, it was on campus grounds. Anyway, I'm giving him head and I smelled something foul. I wanted to stop, and as soon as I was about to, I see a lump of shit lodged in between his ass cheeks. I didn't want to embarrass him but told him that I was ready to go. I never agreed to see him again. He must have been experiencing extreme pleasure. This thread will result in years of Reddit jokes. A coworker's mother came in and paid another coworker to spank her. But the mom said she wanted to be able to hear it. I gave a lap dance to what I thought was a couple. They were brother and sister. Fucking Lannisters. They always pay their debts. Oh my god. God has no place in this thread. What in Alabama did I just read? That's an odd way to spell Louisiana. LMAO. My friend used to do this on the side cause extra cash. But she stopped when she had a guy pay her to peg him, and then as she was doing it, he shit himself and didn't want her to stop. He told her that it felt better with that kind of lube. She said she had to stop and gather herself and proceeded cause he was paying her $1,000 for the hour. But as she began again, that's when he began to jerk off and come all over the bed underneath him. She said that room smelled so bad afterwards. She said as she was washing up and getting ready to leave, he was just laying on his cum and shit stained bed. Like she said, he's literally laying on his shit and cum and naked and pleased with himself. She says he wanted her to do it again as he was laying there. But this time he wanted to be on his back while they did it. She says I politely declined and told him I had to get to another appointment. What's with everyone shitting themselves? The extreme pleasure, I guess. Holy shit, enough Reddit for today. Look what you've started. I had a client who scraped the crotch of my panties with a knife, then put the scrapings in his pipe and smoked it. They weren't lying when they said it gets fucking weirder as we go down here, skull. Just a regular panty puffer NBD. I eat Oreos before I got to the dentist because I think the dental assistant is hot and I want her to spend more time with me. Have an upvote for being super weird and random. This is a hilarious answer. It's a Stephen Wright joke. Before I went independent, I worked for a service. They sent me out on a call, and when I got to the apartment I had to be buzzed in. I open the door and it's large loft-style apartment and there are piles of trash everywhere. I'm standing in the doorway thinking oh shit, and I hear a voice from up in the loft telling me to come around and up the stairs. So I do, doing my best to avoid touching anything, and I climb the stairs and the entire loft area is a king-size bed. Trash all around the bed and a massive obese man laying in the bed. Fortunately, it was incredibly quick. But I told the service I never wanted to go back. I pictured King Hippo from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I'm a webcam model, and the amount of grown-ass men fantasizing about their underage nieces, neighbors or sisters is disturbing. I always block them. I rather be poor than engage on their disturbing fantasies. I really believe there are way more pedos out there than we might suspect. Absolutely terrifying. I used to prosecute sex crimes, and you are not wrong. It would disturb you to know how abundant they really are. As a stripper in my late 20s, admittedly, I do look much younger than my age. There was a man in his 60s. When I was completely nude, he repeatedly told me that I have the body of a 16-year-old. I always refused to give him any private dances and stayed as far away from him as I could. I was a homeless heroin, cocaine addict for many years. I squatted with many street prostitutes that I knew very well. Some I was with for years. One of them was this girl that just looked so crazy young. She was in her 20s but for real looked like 13 to 15. She was by far the most popular one in our group. She had so many regulars, and according to her they were all either thinking she was very young or pretending she was. I don't even know her real name because everyone called her Lil Bit. This girl was so tiny. I was a phone sex worker. The amount of men who wanted me to be a cold dead girl was a bit disturbing. This blew up after I went to bed. A few people have asked how I managed to do a dead girl over the phone. Basically, I described the state of my corpse and they detailed how they wanted to abuse me. In answer to another frequent question, I'm not sure phone sex work exists anymore, as I did this in the early 2000s before FaceTime and OnlyFans existed. At that point, why did they even call? They should have just picked up the phone and enjoyed the silence. It would have been so much better than me trying to come up with ways to be sexy, hot and dead tears of joy. How does this work on the phone? They just make spooky ghost noises while the guy on the other end of the line jerks it. Boo. Woo. You will be visited by 3 spirits this very night, Ebenezer. Boo. Quote. Describing what my cold lifeless body and lady bits looked and smelled like. And other gross bits.